Right. Totally did not time that right. But hey, here we are. I am terrible. But hey, here we are. Cashworthy Podcast live September 11th here on this great Sunday for many reasons. Um, primarily, not to be remiss, but this is 21st year of September 11th.
Mm-hmm.
Tragic event that took place 21 years ago. 21 years ago, in New York City, Pennsylvania, Washington D.C. Um, Tragedy, thousands of lives lost. Right. Uh, History as we know it changed forever. Um, Day that will forever live in infamy rather. I said infamy. And about that time, you were in the military, or you were going in the military, VP?
Now I was already in.
Already in the military. All right. But yeah, it's Castworthy Podcast, episode 160. Uh, we're here like almost every Sunday to bring you politics, some toxicity, and some good old cast-worthy news. I'm EJ, and I'm joined here by my boy VP Research. VP, man, firstly, how you feeling about today? How you feeling? And all, how you feeling? What's going on?
Um, I mean, I'm good for the most part, man. It kind, I always tell you guys like usually 9/11 is tough for me. That's the day my mom passed. She wasn't in New York, but she passed on that same day,
Right. I remember how
same
that
year,
happened.
everything.
Yeah.
And I actually didn't realize it was 9/11 until like this morning. You know what I mean? Usually, like I'm aware of it. You know what I mean? And then like I usually I don't know. I usually have like some kind of feeling, you know what I mean, on 9/11. I didn't feel that way this year until it dawned on me that it was 9, you know what I mean? So it's
Right.
kind of bittersweet, man. I'm happy, that football is back and all that kind of stuff like that. And then at the same time, it's kind of like, damn, you know. So
I remember the story of you being on base is now, I asked you that question, but now it, runs back in my head,
yeah,
and how, you were being called and everything was just going on.
yeah.
But it's just crazy how, you can have your own thing going on that just supersedes everything else, and like time is moving around you.
Yeah, and that's like 9/11's always been like funny for me because, you know, when it happened, we had heard about it. We were at work and like people were talking like, yo, they said a plane hit the trade center. I'm like, what? And me and my man Mooch, we jumped in the car and drove up to headquarters because they had a TV up there,
Mooch.
where the duty officer where the duty officer was. So we went up there, and when we got there, like a bunch of people are in that area where the TV is, and we're just all watching TV. And then people are like in disbelief, like, oh my god, what the fuck. And then not too much longer we see the second plane hit, and it's like, oh shit. And then maybe 20 minutes later, I'm guessing like orders start coming down like, yo, like we they changed the threat level and stuff like that. And they were like, y'all gotta get the fuck out of here, get back to your shops, whatever. And then we started just doing our thing. And fast forward to like, I think it was like 3 o'clock in the afternoon is when they called me down back to headquarters to go see the lieutenant. And then that's when he let me know that that they had got the message that my mom had passed. And so, you know, for me, like most people remember 9/11, like, oh, I remember I saw the planes hit. I was watching news all day. They have like all these like things seared in their memory from like the news. Whereas for me, it was like a very, very busy work day. And then I get the news, and then everything just changes for me. Whereas most people probably was glued to the TV like all day. You know what I mean? And so when I watch footage on the news about 9/11, a lot of times it's the first time I've seen some of that stuff because for me, I had like I'm on the phone with people and, trying to figure out what's happening. I got to try to get, because I was in North Carolina, I had to get some rest so I could drive down to Miami the next day because airports were closed. So I couldn't get a flight, so the whole experience was just different for me, man.
And being away and stationed, and then I'm sure just the defense level and everything. Just thinking about all of that, that's crazy, man.
Yeah.
Um, I was back home, and I just remember all of the chaos and no local news and people just trying to find their families, and I also still I remember there's still just a lot of fighting and stupidness still going on.
hmm
I don't think we understood the brevity of what was happening at the moment, unless you really had family working down there, and first responders going down there, and just people running in there and losing their lives at some point.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it's crazy. 21 years ago, life as we know it as a world,
Yeah.
as a globe, has been changed.
Were you living in Baltimore at the time, or you hadn't
No,
moved
I
there
was
yet?
still in New York. I was still
Okay.
living in New York.
Oh
Yeah.
man, damn, damn.
Yeah. I was still living in New York. And you could see, you could kind of see the smoke and stuff. And the crazy thing about it, I remember people were talking about the flights and stuff in the newspaper clippings and articles about the FBI, pulling people from flights and stuff like that.
hmm
It's just a weird time. And locally, just seeing everything that was going on, and then days after, being able to still see smoke, and it's just it's a crazy time, very surreal. And when you go there now, and if anyone hasn't been, they should go to the memorial to get a understanding of what used to be there.
hmm
The buildings, they basically have, the base, kind of like the bases of the buildings, and the names of those lost all around them, and water. And it's a very beautiful display. But just to see how massive those structures were, um, it's still kind of crazy and creepy,
Yeah.
to a sense. But 21 years later, man, airport travel has changed. Just the world as itself has changed, and just really want to. We always, we always want to honor and give the dead respect on this, platform, and we always do. Starting with your mom and all of those lost on September 11th, especially those that went in, to rescue people, and everything that went on, aside from the conspiracy theories people have and all of that stuff. But definitely remember 9/11. And people get it. We get to get out and do what you do this year, because last year was shaky for many of us.
Yeah.
So yeah, 21 years, September 11th. Remembering everyone that was there.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Um, quickly staying on the topic, not to be too down, but Queen of England is passed,
Yeah.
and Black Twitter, Black people have been going ham.
Black people, and I heard I don't know how to find it, but I heard like the Irish people on Twitter were also going ham.
Oh yeah.
So
Going ham, man. I mean, this lady was 90 something,
96.
96 years old. I mean, you got it. That's almost a century. And all of that time, that the monarch has, done so many things to so many people. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's expected, when you ruled certain kind of way, and maybe not always heard throughout that time of her lifespan, obviously, because she was a child at some
hmm
point. But just what that monarch stands for historically, we can understand that.
Right. And I think that people misunderstood, like what the sentiments were. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
I'll confess, I'm one of those Americans that's probably like overly obsessed obsessed with the British royal family. Like I know a lot about them. I read a lot about them. I wake up at 4 a.m. and watch the royal weddings and shit like that. So, so I don't know. I just I think when I remember when Princess Diana died, and like my mom and my aunt were like constantly watching that stuff, and I think that's where it came from or whatever. But I'm like really, really obsessed with those people. But at the same time, like we talk all the time about how, people they're like onions, they got layers, you know what I mean? And while Elizabeth and whichever monarch is in charge now, Charles, William to come, etc., while they have no power, you know what I mean, all they're a figurehead, you know what I mean? And but at the same time, that same family has been ruling over the United Kingdom for 1,000 years. You know what I mean? And that family has done a lot, a lot of bad in the world. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And so for people, especially people who are in former British colonies, to feel some kind of way about, it's not, I'm pretty sure they recognize, yes, she didn't do this to me, but she's a product
What she
of
stands for.
the people who did.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And so, it's understandable for people to feel the way they did about her death. You know what I mean? And they have
That
the right to.
that's the epitome of I will forever hate whoever comes from you. I
Yeah,
hate your children's children.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean that monarch and what it stands for, although there are, I'm sure, some things in the advancement of the culture of man that, they contributed to. There's a lot they are responsible for, and
hmm,
rightfully so. I get it. I don't
yeah,
actively go on and take my part in saying or doing things because I really could care less. But yeah, it's amazing what we as a people get at on social media these days.
yeah. But I mean, you like something that people are gonna see within the next, I think within probably about a year. I'm not sure when they're gonna do it, but King Charles is eventually, he's been king since from the moment she died, right? They always
Mhm,
say that the British monarchy doesn't die, it passes.
mhm.
So but eventually he's gonna have his coronation ceremony, right? And they're gonna go to the church, and he's gonna be, all dressed up and all of that old looking shit like that you see if you look at some king
Old
from the
regalia.
1600s. Yeah.
Mhm.
And the head of the church is gonna crown him, right? And when you look at that crown that the British king or queen wears, you're looking at stolen treasure. That shit is filled with like these huge rubies and diamond, like huge diamonds, probably worth millions, if not billions of dollars worth of diamonds just in the crown, let alone what it's worth just from a
The gold.
historical perspective. You know what I
Mhm,
mean?
mhm.
And that's they don't mind diamonds in Britain, in London. You know what I mean? They got those diamonds from places like Africa and other places that they colonized and shit. The royal family, even though a lot of people think that they're probably like rich as hell, right? I mean, they're definitely wealthy. You know what I mean? But they're only worth like a couple $100 million, and I'm saying that like that's not a lot of money. But I mean, it's not like Elon Musk money that you would
Right.
think a family that have been around for 1,000 years. You know what I mean?
That we
But
know of.
but the royal family independently has the largest and most valuable art collection in the world,
Mm.
and a lot of that art is stolen art from places like Africa and South America and et cetera, et cetera. You know what I mean? And in 2017, the British government actually passed a law that prevents the selling or like passing down as inheritance stolen or looted art, right? And then put a nice little exemption in there
For the
for the
royal
royal
family.
family. So, and so it's stuff like that is why you see people in Africa, Black Twitter, people in Ireland and stuff going ham about her death or whatever. You know what I mean? So, and that's why I said earlier, while there are millions of people that grieve her loss, you know what I mean, but there's also people who feel like, fuck that family. So
Yeah. Hate you. I hate everything about you. I don't even know
right,
you, but I hate your guts.
right,
Yeah, the queen passed, and we have and black folks have some mixed feelings. It
yeah,
is what it is. Uh, David Arnold, not a huge well-known comedian to a lot of people, but um, David Arnold, comedian, I think passed at 54 years old in his sleep. I know a lot of people don't care about people they don't know passing away, but he's up and coming. Well, not up and coming, but he's been around, been a writer on several shows. I like his humor. He Family Guy. Always incorporated his family into his comedy. Brother, I think he's from Ohio. I'm not 100% sure,
mm,
but he passed away. So condolences to the Arnold family and the comedic world around the world,
definitely,
specifically United States, man. But I love his skits, man, because him just being a dad, it just exemplifies everything. I think specifically black fathers or fathers, of our ethnic background can relate to. He has that George Lopez kind of comedy when it comes to his
hmm
family. So definitely, prayers to his family. He's very close to them. Takes his family on tour with him. Just an ideal, seemingly great guy, man. So the good ones always go.
yeah, definitely. Rest in peace, man.
Yep. Rest in peace, Arnold family. Sticking with the comedic sense of things, Aries Spears and Tiffany Haddish, man. Come
Ugh.
on down.
Oh,
So Aries Spears, first of all, let's go let's recap how this even may have come about. Aries
that's what I was
Spears.
wondering about because I just heard about it. I didn't know, like, it kind of reminded me of remember when Bill Cosby was like getting back in the limelight, and it seemed
Mhm.
like it just came out of nowhere, and then I eventually heard it came from like a comedy, a stand up performance or something like that, which is what kind of put it back
Aries
out there.
Aries Spears was trying to buy CVS. everybody, you know how the people be like, yeah, when Bill tried to buy the station, that's when they hit him with the joints. But yeah, I mean, I think this came from Spears attacking the Lizzo hive
Mm,
and fat shaming, and then boom, people they bring up this 2018, 2014, 15, 16. I don't know when I know 2018 I think was when this one specifically happened, but this skit, this bit that him and Tiffany Haddish thought was so funny,
hmm
they bring it up and it surfaces, and man, I mean, I didn't see the uncut video. I only saw the one that people have kind of generated that block out the kids.
right.
But the premise and when you can kind of see what is going on without seeing it,
hmm
it's nasty work, man.
I agree.
It is nasty work, man. And listen, me and Steve were both saying, they should get R. Kelly level of cancellation. Now, I know some people think that's taking it too far, but for me, this was just horrible on so many levels, man. Especially when you got young kids and you just, it's like, what were you doing? What were you thinking?
I I definitely think that the skit was terrible. I just I don't know what the fuck they were thinking. But I've wondered, and we had this conversation offline.
Hmm.
I've wondered like how far, you know, should we have gone? I feel like the underlying message
Hmm.
was from a good place, right? But how they communicated it, because they're essentially saying she's a shitty mom and she's leaving her kid with somebody who's taking advantage of them, right?
Hmm.
And so the underlying message, I guess, is what they say at the end of the video, which is watch who you leave your kids with or
Right.
whatever. but the way that it's done is just terribly insane, you know. But I don't know if I'm ready to go all the way to full cancel. You know what I mean? Because people are like, oh, they're groomers, you know, and I'm like, you know, I don't know.
Yeah, I get it, and I get the pause. I get the understanding to have the pause, right? And let's not be the lynch mob and the angry torches burning. But I just, for me, and it goes to the larger, and I'm the resident conspiracy theorist. But it speaks to the larger atmosphere of Hollywood just
Hmm.
being nasty, right? The Woody, what's his name?
Woody Allen.
Woody Allen's, the Epstein's, the all of that shit, and you take Aries Spears back to his Mad TV days, the nonsense he's done there, even the Bill Cosby skit that him and Haddish did in the past, it's just nasty. Like, and just I think for me, the overall root of it, to believe that this was a good idea. I mean, someone said to me it probably would have made more sense for them to have adults acting as kids, but for you to actually put children in this space, I just don't even know how you're mentally comfortable doing that.
Right.
And it's weird to me, because it's and you see the clear divide here. I think it's funny because our people, our community, you know, we talk about R. Kelly, this dude, we knew what he was doing for 20 plus years. And
Hmm.
people didn't care. They filled up arenas, they still bumped his music, they did all of that. And even now, when he's quote unquote canceled, there's a whole TikTok challenge that women are doing with his music playing in the background. So it's like, I don't know what we cancel and what we don't these days. I just think Tiffany Haddish and him should get all of the negative criticism they got coming their way, because whatever the message was, this wasn't it,
Yeah.
by and large. But we're gonna watch this space. I think a lot of the stuff that's going on now is stuff that's been going on, as far as her homegirl whose kids were involved in the video,
Hmm.
has been trying to get money from her, and it looks like they've fallen out of graces. So that's kind of what it was about, and they're quote unquote, as they said, trying to get extorted, or getting extorted rather. But yeah, man, I just think in the future, we really got to watch them people. And
Yeah. I
you know
mean, as far as I mean, I don't can't even tell you the last time I've seen something from Ari Spears. And Tiffany Haddish has been personally canceled for me because I don't think she's funny. I don't really like her, so I don't watch anything that she does.
right,
Oh, the last thing I've seen from her, I think, was like Girls Trip, and
that was funny.
um, yeah, that was actually funny. But I mean,
Super
her
funny.
overall, I don't care for the character. She's like Kevin Hart to me. Like, she does one thing, she has a stick, and I don't like it. So
Right.
you know what I mean? But I mean, I get your overall point or whatever. And it's like the message, I think, was fine. It's how they sent. It's how they communicated. They could have, like you said, with adults. Maybe you don't ever, like, you show her saying, "Hey, I'm gonna leave," Johnny with you, and you never even show a kid. You just imply it. You know what I mean, or something like that. You know what I mean? But it was the. It seemed like they tried to go over the top with it, like with the R. Kelly music playing and the
This
bubbles in the
this dude
tub and all.
mentioned Sandusky.
Yeah, yeah.
Which this, I mean, that's just, and it's like, I get, and we talk about, not our community, but society being sensitive, and culture and art, and how can you push it, and comedy. And I mean, I think even the most raunchiest, non most desensitive, I don't know what the hell I'm trying to say, desensitized people,
Desensitized.
comedians, whoever would look at this and just say, what the fuck are you doing? You
Right.
know what I mean? Like, and there's has to be a line. There has to be a line in something, and these people buried it in the sand. And for me, it just, like you, I'm not a fan of Haddish, and I just wonder, I wonder, does her gender, her status in the community have a part to play where she's a little shielded from this seemingly. And it got me thinking, man. It societally, it seems to me that almost everyone gets forgiven except the black male athletes. And I
And I
might be
think
going on a limb here.
no, I don't think that you are. But I think part of what happened here with Tiffany Haddish is the fact that like we we as a people, and I don't mean black people, I just mean like as Americans in general, like it feels like we love tearing people down. And maybe Tiffany Haddish is just not big enough. You know what I mean?
Mm,
Like, cause like think about somebody like a Tiger Woods, for example. You know what I mean? He gets in that car crash and then they just killed him. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, if something ever comes out about LeBron,
so,
Jesus, like
so
so
Drake, Drake with the kid we never knew about.
right. You know what I mean? And so I think it's one of those things where it's just that Tiffany Haddish is not a well enough known commodity for
Mhm.
people to feel like they need to devote time to tearing her down because she ain't really out there like that to begin with. You know what I mean? And I
Yeah,
wonder if that played a part into it.
I also think too, and we would be lying because if we don't put a factor to it, but a gender, her being a black woman,
Hmm.
people at all costs try to avoid tearing down black women, especially in the black community, regardless of what they do.
Yeah,
And I talked about it with the Amanda Seals thing, and how she came at Roll and all of those nasty type things she was saying about dude, and turned out she was capping, and no one called her out on it.
yeah.
But when you're talking about inflammatory things, trying to make a man sound like a creep, and people ran with it, that's damaging. And no one really held her accountable for that. And maybe there's a little privilege in that, in this situation. you know
I don't necessarily, like I said earlier, I don't necessarily disagree. I mean, and you can look at it from another angle of like when we talk about like dating outside your race. Like black men get killed for
Getting murdered.
dating white women, but white or
Black
black
women.
women date white men like all the time, and it's like nothing to see. Like a black man dates a white woman and they get killed for it, and a black woman dates a white man, and if when black men say something, it's well, you guys need to do better. What did you do to make
Hmm.
her have to go? So it's
Hmm.
still our fault.
Yes, a little gender privilege in there. A little gender privilege, man. You gotta acknowledge it, man. Gotta acknowledge it. It's real. It's real.
you
We're
know,
gonna watch this space.
right?
We're gonna
You
watch
like,
this space.
how the hell is Kamala married to a white guy? And then you leave that conversation like, I gotta start thinking about what I did that drove her. Like,
Yeah, this shit
like
is bad. This shit is bad. You know what I'm saying? We doing bad out here. I'm a shitty motherfucker.
you
You
know.
know, terrible, man. It's funny as shit. Yeah, hey, we got to do better, society. We just got to do better all around.
For
But yeah,
sure,
there's
man.
nastiness going on there. Um, so we'll watch the space. We'll see what's going on. Yeah, and I was even talking about Corey Holcomb and how he hates Aries Spears. And he immediately went to defend Haddish versus Spears, like she ain't had nothing to do with it. Like, bro, come on, man. Like,
Right.
you sound crazy. They're both in like you sound
Exactly.
crazy. But yeah,
Exactly.
we gonna watch this space. We gonna watch this space.
Yeah.
Ah man, some quick things. Actually, you know what? Let's stick with this celebrity nonsense. Ray J, Brandy's little brother, going at the Kardashian family, going at the crown. You know what I mean? They done pissed him off,
Yeah.
and all he has is one wish is for them to leave him alone. But
I see what you did there.
but I mean,
I
since
see
they
what you did
didn't,
there. That might be
you
the
know,
title.
hey, since they didn't leave him alone, man, he had to pull out the receipts, man.
Yeah.
Ray J is tired of the Kardashians using him as the villain in this whole situation,
Mm-hmm.
and he's got every right to feel that way after they capitalized and created a whole empire off of the Chris Jenner or whatever her name is lies.
Mm-hmm.
So Ray J goes, and I haven't seen the rant, but apparently it's epic. Um, you saw it. What was going on?
I saw a portion of it, but the thing that I immediately thought of, when I saw it was I don't know if you remember this because you're from New York, so you might have been on the East Coast side or whatever. But when
Oh,
that
Pop. Yeah,
Machiavelli album came out, and
yeah.
they had that one track where the intro was like a news reporter talking, and he's
Hmm.
like, industry insiders are asking one question: why'd they get this nigga started? Like,
Yeah, I
like
remember.
that that's how I felt like watching the Ray J thing. So essentially, man, on the IG live rant,
Hmm.
he's talking about like how they're making it seem like he's the one putting all this stuff out there when he was just chilling, and now they're making it seem like he's coming at them and they're just innocent bystanders. And and he was saying like how all these years they act like the tape leaked or whatever, and he was like, that shit didn't leak, they sold it. He was like, I got my 12.5%, you got your 12.5%. He like, your signature all over that contract. Then that's the most that I've seen. But
My
then
man had the gloves on.
yeah, but then they say he pulled out the contract like wearing gloves because he was like he don't want to damage the fingerprints and shit that's on the contract and shit. He was like, your contract, I mean your signature all over this contract or whatever, and he was like Chris Jenner was involved from like the first step, but they acting like they're just some innocent bystanders, that this thing just happened to them, and not that they set it up to happen in that way or whatever, you know what I mean? So it's wild, man. But it kind of goes back to what you were saying a moment ago when you were questioning whether or not um um Tiffany Haddish's gender played a role in how much smoke she's getting over her situation, right? And over the years, even when the tape first leaked, you know, I remember people making it seem like it was Ray J who probably leaked it, you know. And even though Kim Kardashian's life has changed exponentially over this tape
For the
leak
better.
for the better. We're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars earned, celebrity, her star just, I mean, rising to the top of the top, you know what I mean? To the point
Relationship
to
after relationship.
right to the point that people want to be like her, you know what I mean, when they grow up, even though I don't know what like her means because I don't know the fuck she does, you know what I mean? um
Oh, we know what she does.
right. But in all of that, Ray J's always been seen as the villain in it. You know what I mean? And it's like, oh, this is just a girl who was, having intimacy with her dude, and then he surreptitiously recorded her and then just released the video, and that's
Revenge
not what
porn.
happened. Right. That's not what happened. And he even says in the thing, right? He was like, all these years, like they try to make it seem like it's me. Why they never sued me? If they think I leaked the tape and did, do, why haven't they ever sued me?
Oh, they're gonna sue
And he
you
was like,
now for the NDA.
so it's interesting, man. But I mean, he got a point though, man. Like I guess it's just like he's tired of being the villain in their story.
Yeah, and like I was telling you prior to recording, the most recent thing that came out was, again, you have this family, they're playing it up on the show. So, okay, how can we be relevant again?
Mm-hmm.
Whack 100, we all know as games manager,
Mm-hmm.
made a space for himself, and he's a very controversial figure himself. It's like, yeah, it's more footage, whoop, whoop, whoop. And so Chris Jenner and all of them are coming at Ray J once again. And Ray J, and this is when the Ray J and Kanye thing come up, to where it's like Kanye comes to get more footage, and Kanye was kind of trying to make it seem like it was Ray J trying to extort him to get money for the additional footage,
Right.
when that wasn't really the case. And it's like, if you're Ray J and you experienced this for years, and like you said, I've been tired of being the villain, and now it's resurfaced, and then you still trying to make me out to be this person after you've benefited for so long on this. Yeah, I mean, it was time for him to defend himself,
Right.
especially now he's got business and other circles, and it's just like, and sadly, and again to your last topic, you know, black women at some point was like, see, this is what you get for fucking with them white girls. You know what I'm saying? But it is an element to that where it's like I always talk about it, the cry wolf, I cry wolf, this black man did this to me, and now, so it's a lot of layers in this thing. And my man felt tired of it. He got tired of it. He
Yeah.
needed to do something about it.
Yeah. And I mean, and just thinking about it's not just Kim. That entire family has parlayed that sex tape into an empire. Like they all eat off of it. You know what I
Oh
mean? Like I
gosh.
mean the one who
Kylie Jenner.
the one
Yeah.
who's a billionaire or what, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they parlayed that somebody who wasn't involved in the tape. She's a
Might
family
not even
member.
been born.
Right. Parlayed that shit into $1 billion. You know what I mean? Like it's insane, yo. And for them to come at this dude like that when they've done nothing but win, is that shit is fucking scumbaggery at its
It's
height.
scumbaggery at its finest.
Right. Because you would think that people would say, man, you know, I kind of, you know what I mean? Like we use this dude, we got paid. Let's just let sleeping dogs lie
Yeah,
and keep
he's a
it
good
moving.
guy. We've reconciled.
Right.
There's no problems. Please leave him alone.
Exactly.
Nah. And they know they all got tons, they've got millions of following, millions of blind followers. So
Hmm.
I mean, who knows what kind of slander this guy is getting from that, group.
Right.
So
Right.
yeah, I mean, I feel bad for Ray J, man. I mean, I feel bad for those, Brandy's taking her lumps over the years. Ray J's had his life on display. Ray J's had his life in TV since he was 14. I mean, this dude, there's a lot of mental stuff that goes along with that, but you know, hence the celebrity life. So
Yeah.
yeah, man. Um, some other quick things before we get into the day of all days. Um, Adrian Peterson gets knocked out by my man Le'Veon Bell. Le'Veon Bell and Adrian Peterson make this celebrity boxing match. People like, why? Why are they doing this? Why? Why?
Hmm.
Why? And people like Adrian Peterson, man, he's a stud on the field. He's super jacked. Le'Veon Bell. People forget Le'Veon Bell's 6'2", 230 pounds.
Hmm.
Been boxing a little bit. I remember when he first started years ago, looked a little crazy. But, he gets in there against AP, drops him with a right, man. Knocks him out. Shout out to Le'Veon Bell, letting them know.
Yeah.
Letting them know, boy. You Mike Tyson
Anytime.
versus your kid, but I'm gonna lump you up now.
Oh, anytime I see, you know, these kind of things, man, it's like it makes me sad, man, because I just think it's from the perspective of I think about like we follow these cats, and for those of us who are like real like hardcore football fans,
Mhm.
we follow our teams, and then we got those certain players that are outside of our teams that we like
Adore, yeah.
or and so it's not just knowing that this person plays for this team. A lot of times we're aware of like their contract situation and shit like that. And so we know the kind of money that these guys have made. And to be doing this kind of shit, and I don't know what their financial situation is, but when I see it, it automatically makes me assume that they're broke. And so
Right.
this is something they had to do in order to try to secure one more payday because they've mismanaged their finances in some kind of way. And it makes me sad from that perspective. One thing, even though I hate the owner of the Dolphins, Stephen Ross, he's a piece of shit, but one thing that I do like that he does, and I think the NFL has actually picked this up and they're implementing it across the league, is that each year he has like a financial like literacy thing that's
Mm,
done for the players. It's mostly for the rookies, but the vets can come too,
mhm.
and they teach them about investing and how to make sure this deal is right for you and that kind of thing like that. You know what I mean? And I don't know how much it's helped the players, but I have to assume it's had some kind of impact. You know, um, but I think we as black people, because most of the league is black, it's probably 70-80% black,
For
we
sure.
have to stop every time we get money. Like I'll never forget this. The first time I seen LeBron, like after the draft, he wore the white suit to the draft, etc. And I saw him at a Yankees game with like a mink coat on, and I remember thinking, this motherfucker's gonna be broke. You know, because it just seems like that's the kind of shit that we do. It's like, oh, I got money, like I gotta buy a mink coat and a big chain, and I mean, we obviously see it went a totally different direction with
Oh yeah.
LeBron,
Oh yeah.
but for most of these guys, it goes in that other direction to where when your career is over, you're doing exhibition boxing to make money. You know what I'm saying?
I like to believe that these two guys might be financially sound, may not, because this is the same Le'Veon Bell that when he was on the Jets got like a $200 or $100,000 chain stolen from some random chick he met in Jersey. But I like to also believe that these guys having still that competitive edge
Mhm.
in a violent sport. Uh, they have no other outlet and they want to go some other route. But I don't know what made them do this match because I know Le'Veon's been boxing for years, but I feel like there was something more behind it because they had a little spat at the press conference. So it might have been a little something behind it. Cause in the league, you're at a certain position and you hear about another guy and people mention his name and don't mention yours. And you kind of like, man, I'm better than this dude. So who knows? It might have been some natural beef there, but um lovely knockout
Yeah,
by Le'Veon. Shout out to him.
yeah. I mean,
Um
I hope that you're right, and it's like some kind of outside beef. They decide let's just let's take it to the ring and settle it.
yeah,
I would hope it's that, and that is not financial troubles, but a lot of times I feel like when we see these kinds of things, it's definitely because of some kind of some kind of financial issue or whatever.
right, right. Yeah, and same could be said about this next person in the UFC, my boy Nate Diaz, man. Nate Diaz goes out there, fights Tony Ferguson, gets a submission. He was like 300 something plus underdog. Even every time I hear him speak, man, I get nervous because he always sounds punch drunk. But I have to think about it now, though. Like, I literally think he's drunk when he's talking sometimes because I heard him talking the other day and he was like clear, and he was just clear as shit. Like you can make out what he's saying. So I'm
Hmm.
like, okay, maybe it's just that they catch him on certain interviews and he's actually drunk. Because I thought this dude was really like punch drunk. I was like, I did not want to see him back in the octagon doing his thing. But man, he put up and he shut up. So shout out to Nate Diaz, man.
Definitely.
Stockton bad boy. We gonna make sure we hashtag that one. But man, back to what we all came here for. It's NFL Sunday. We had a game Thursday. Let's get
Whew.
into that. Rams
Whew.
versus the Bills.
Mm.
Bills smoked the Rams. What are your thoughts on that one?
So I had two thoughts. Like one, and we talked offline about this before we started recording, where I said I wish I would hit you up to do a parlay, but then when I think about it, I probably would have went with the Rams, and so I would have lost my money. So I'm glad I didn't. But
Right.
but um but the first thing I wondered is, are the Bills that good, or are the Rams just really bad? You know. Um but I was surprised at the result. Um I'm wondering if something's up. Like we heard about something going on with Stafford's elbow.
Hmm.
So I'm wondering if, like, how big of a thing that is.
Right.
It's one game, so I mean, once one game don't make a season. So we'll see. But from the Bills, especially both of us being AFC East team fans, Like that's concerning. They look like they're gonna be a problem. And I know, you guys probably aren't, worried about it this year, at least, from a from what your season goals are and things like that. But as a Dolphins fan, I'm concerned. So yeah, they look nice, man. I was really really surprised by the score. From my fantasy standpoint, I got Stephon Diggs, so nothing to complain about there. But yeah, I was surprised at the outcome.
Yeah, my dumb ass went with Matthew Stafford thinking he would do something, but the absence of Odell Beckham. But they got Allen Robinson. I mean, and they just abandoned running the football. I mean,
Yeah.
Akers was what he was, but Henderson was looking good, and they just abandoned the run game, which the Bills kind of are susceptible to.
Hmm.
Um, I just think McVay. I don't know what they were doing, and both quarterbacks up until a certain point were having a horrible game. Josh Allen
Yeah.
turned the ball over. So I don't know. I think the war of attrition got there, and the Bills, just had the better team going down the stretch. And I agree with you, man. It's definitely something. The Bills putting people on notice, man. I mean, but they have been the Super Bowl, pick to get there. So we'll see. And like I told somebody, the Bills getting to the Super Bowl historically ain't been a problem. It's the motherfuckers
Right.
winning.
He's winning.
They've been knocking on the door year after year after year. I don't know. You can say another franchise in the league has hit that door as many times as they have,
Right.
especially back to back to back. So we'll see.
Yeah, and I mean, and this is week one too, and this is why I said a moment ago, obviously this, but one game don't make a season. A lot of time we know, like the way that the NFL is now, players don't play in preseason. A lot of the vets. I mean, we just saw Brady and Aaron Rodgers talk about training camp. Like you don't need training camp if you're a vet, that kind of thing like that.
What?
And we traditionally see really sloppy play the first, I would say, 2 to 4 weeks of the
Mhm.
season. And it's how sometimes we get those teams. I was telling my wife, I was like, teams don't play preseason, and then you see that sloppy play when the season first starts for a couple of weeks. And it's how you have some of these teams where you're like, damn, so and so 7-0. And I was like, because if you come in and just take advantage of that, you could really set yourself up nice to start the season off well. And next thing you done got a playoff berth, and then you get to playoffs and get smashed, and people are like, oh, they are who we thought they are,
Right.
and so so I don't think Buffalo is that, but also it's the first week of the season, so let's not go crazy yet.
Yeah. And again, the Rams, again, I mean, I don't know what kind of game they were playing. Two of those touchdowns, you got Jalen Ramsey getting cooked by Stephon
Whew.
Diggs, and then the play coverage, the design, just everything that's going on. You abandon the run, etc. So I mean, we'll see what McVay really is doing out there as we get down the stretch.
Hmm.
Um, we'll see.
Yeah,
But
seemed like Jalen Ramsey was believing his own hype because
Jalen Ramsey to me has always been this guy, and it's tough to cover a guy in today's NFL on an island like that. When you can't jam a dude past 5 or 10 yards, I can't remember what it is, but it's,
5.
it's yeah, 5 yards. It's tough out there. So I always commended him for not being afraid to man up on guys, but I mean, hey. Yeah, it's tough being a corner out there, man.
Hmm.
But today's, opening Sunday week. Everybody else is playing today. This is every man's holiday. It's just today's our day. Games
Hmm.
kick off at 1 o'clock. Excuse me. Steve sent some divisional predictions. Um, I don't know that I've thought this far ahead, but whatever. Steve has NFC East, Dallas, North.
He picked. Whoa, I'm shocked.
I mean, listen, man, these dudes won
Steve picked
12 games.
Dallas.
I mean, they won 12 games last year. I think the only threat in that division is Philly. I mean, and it's his team. Okay.
Yeah.
Shocker. I mean, and they have a loaded roster. They have a loaded roster. So that it should be a gimme. Minnesota, he picked Minnesota for the NFC North, which is surprising.
Hmm.
But Green Bay is kind of down. Chicago is Chicago, and Detroit is Detroit. So
Yeah,
that might be a safe pick for once.
that's true. And I mean, and especially when you talk about Detroit, man. I was telling Steve last week. I watched Hard Knocks,
Hmm.
and that team just doesn't look good. And I told Steve, a lot of the coaches got a lot of airtime on this season's Hard Knocks
Hmm.
versus the players, and I was like, that kind of tells you something about this team. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? That
yeah,
we focus so much on the coaches. You know what I mean?
because a lot of them are ex players, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, trying to kind of cover up what they got there by putting it on the coaching personnel than anything else.
Hmm.
So yeah, he's got the Bucks for the NFC South. I would challenge that with New Orleans, but
I agree.
yeah, just to challenge it, because I actually would want to see Jameis do good.
Right. And I think it's with the Bucks. Tom Brady's 45 years old. And I get that he's been playing, at an elite level for the last, 20 years or whatever. But I mean, we say the reason that Father Time is undefeated is a saying is because it's fucking real. You know what I mean? And at some point, he's gonna look 45 out there, you know. And so I just don't know. I mean, and they got offensive line. Their offensive line isn't as good as it was last year. Um, and that's one of the things that allowed 44-year-old Tom Brady to do the things that he did. 43-year-old Tom Brady to win a Super Bowl. It's because they said, let's put this line up there. Let's not let Tom get hit. And, he'll go back there and just do his thing. But I don't know if that's going to be the game plan this year. I mean, it's obviously the game plan. I don't know if it's going to be executed just because of that line is just not as good as it was.
Yeah, and they're going on the bell cow of Leonard Fournette,
Hmm.
who was damn near on the verge of retiring at one point. So
Right.
I don't know.
And you think about like the thing that I said about the line, right? And you kind of juxtapose that with the Dallas Cowboys. Dak comes out, they got this, or Romo gets hurt. They got this crazy offensive line. Zeke's eating, Dak's looking like the second coming of some legend quarterback or whatever. And then as the seasons go on, the line, injury, free agency, etc., the line ain't as good anymore. And now you've seen Zeke pull back, you've seen Dak pull back, and so I would have to imagine as great as Brady is, he's not impervious to these kind of things.
Absolutely, absolutely. Um, I agree 100%. And then he's got the 49ers in the NFC West. That's, I mean, mm, that's tough division to pick.
Yeah,
Tough division to pick.
I don't agree with that one. I think I really think Arizona can come out of that division. That team, I mean, we don't know what the quarterback situation is. I mean, I know Jimmy G's the backup, but they you don't sign the guy you were trying to trade unless you have doubts about the guy you got. You know what I mean? And we've seen how long. It's not like with Aaron Rodgers, he sits for 4 years because you got Brett Favre still. I'm talking about Jimmy Garoppolo, guy who probably hasn't played a full season since high school. You know what I mean?
Right.
and yeah, he's good when he's on the field, but he's constantly hurt, which is why you went and got somebody else. But you obviously aren't confident in somebody else, which is why you've still been rocking with Jimmy G, and then you just re-signed him as well. And so I'm just not confident with the quarterback position. And if you talk about this with the Dolphins all the time when you talk about Tua, if the quarterback position is not solid, you can't do much. Anybody can bring up the Baltimore Ravens, but we haven't seen it since.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. And I don't know what I would go with in the NFC West. but I think I want to say Arizona, but uh, I mean, I think I'd still have to maybe mess with the Rams. Um, then again, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
49ers might be a safe pick. AFC East, obviously the Bills are looking decent. Um, he has the Bengals here. I'm gonna go with the Steelers. I'm gonna
Really?
go with the Steelers. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Steelers. Um, I just think you can't count out Mike Tomlin and the success he's had. I think that defense is loaded. He's got wide receivers. Running back is a little questionable, but he's a quarterback away. And hey, he might he might make a move for Jimmy Garoppolo at some point.
Mm.
So I'm gonna pick the Steelers.
Did you see what Tomlin got all the players?
The black the Air Forces, the black Air Forces. Yo, that dude's a menace, yo. Yo, nasty work for that one.
Yeah.
Steve has the Bengals though. He's taking the Colts in the AFC South. Man, that's a gimme. I would take that. And the Broncos is AFC West with Russ, Dangerous. Uh, I can get with that. I can get with the Broncos.
I can too. Let me back up a second to the Colts, man. I said this to Steve last week. I told it to my brother. We were talking in the middle of the week. I think the Colts can be like an undercover sneaky team. Like they've upgraded at quarterback with Matt Ryan. That team is a pretty solid team, and I think they can end up being under the radar, being a team that kind of surprises us this year.
Yeah, Matt. I mean, they've got the defense. They've had a top 10 defense. They finally got an efficient ish guy, more efficient than Carson Wentz, who
Hmm.
still looks bad in DC. So yeah, I could definitely see them taking that. Going back to AFC North, and you mentioned Lamar Jackson. They got the Jets today in Meadowlands, or MetLife, right? Rather, I'm sorry. Um, Lamar wants his money, man, and if I'm Lamar, man, I am not playing. I'm cashing in. I'm sitting out, and you got to think about it, man. Like Dak Prescott has a horrific injury that
Hmm.
potentially, destroys his career. And, like I was saying to you offline, a lot of people killed Jerry Jones, but he's a player's, GM, and he was going to make that thing right. But Steve Bisciotti, owner of the Ravens, this dude is super cheap. Ozzie Newsome has been able to make magic happen with that guy, despite being given the purse to do anything. And the only other person I think in professional sports who's an owner who's more cheap than Steve Bisciotti is Peter Angelo, who's right next door as the Orioles GM. So I mean owner. So Lamar, if I'm him, I'm holding out, man. I'm not risking my leg getting torn up for this team, and I'm not doing it.
I mean, I definitely agree with you, man. And if you had asked me a year ago, like if this Lamar situation happened a year ago, and you asked me that about holding out, I'll be like, oh, I don't know if it's worth it. It's risky. But then you look at Deshaun Watson, and it's like this dude said, I'm not playing here, and then he sat out the whole year and got into the right. I wouldn't say the right situation. He got into the right situation contractually, but I don't know about the team,
Right.
but if I'm Lamar, maybe I sit out and see if they trade me next year to like Tampa. They're gonna have an open quarterback position there, and it's crazy that like how much they've bungled this thing. And from the stuff that I've read, they're saying that um people feel like the Ravens aren't lowballing Lamar. They just feel like Lamar wants something closer to Deshaun Watson versus like Russell or Kyler Murray. And I mean, nothing wrong with that or whatever. But at the end of the day, like if this guy is supposed to be your franchise quarterback, go ahead and pay him, man. I mean, like, what are we talking about here? Like quarterbacks aren't is they're not linebackers or DBs where you can just like, I'll just go get another one. You know, so take care of this guy if this is supposed to be your franchise.
Yeah, man. And in a town like Baltimore, where a lot of the fans are black and white. I mean, I would say the ticket holders are probably more Caucasian, but Lamar represents the city for a lot of black people. They stand behind them. This is a football town. They love they love their team. You got to pay this guy. If you
Mhm.
could pay a dude like Deshaun Watson, who's been on the couch or the massage table for the last year, yeah, I mean, chilling, and he ain't even gonna play till week 11. If they could do that in your own division, okay, that I think that even adds more insult to injury. That this is in the in division
Mhm.
that they've done this. What kind of message are you sending
Right.
when you don't want to give him something similar?
Right. I mean, y- and you just look at it's not like the dude is asking for, and I don't know what he's asking for, right? But we look at what quarterbacks are being paid: Kyler Murray, Dak, Aaron Rodgers, shit, the Patrick Mahomes contract. You know what I mean? Like they gave this dude half a billy. So I don't understand. It's not like you know quarterbacks were being paid 5 years 70 million, and Lamar's like, nah, I need 5 years 300. Like quarterbacks are getting 5 years 200 plus million or whatever. So I don't understand like what the problem is here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, if I'm him, I'm sitting out today. That
Right.
would do my team a lot of favors.
And you look at these situations, I think some of it, man, is just like Russell Wilson with Seattle. Like the dude says, hey, I can't keep getting hit like this. You guys need to upgrade the line. They're like, you need to shut the fuck up. And then now he's gone. And so you went from having a good quarterback in his prime who's won you a Super Bowl, taking you to another one, to having no quarterback. You got a stud
Geno
wide
Smith.
receiver. You got a stud wide receiver with nobody to throw to him.
Geno
So
Smith. Oh shit. No franchise running back.
mhm.
A lot of uncertainty there in Seattle. I mean, it's a wash.
Yeah.
And you're right. You're 100% right on that. Man, let's do some quick predictions right quick. Okay, Steve says you sound fine. Maybe it's just me that I'm hearing. But then again, who knows when he actually was tuning in, right? Let's see. Let's go with some picks today because this guy didn't give us any picks today. So let's go with the games real quick. And we're just gonna go shoot them off so we can get ready for this football here. We didn't pick the Bills in the Rams game, but I'm pretty sure me and you both would have picked the Rams.
Yeah, I would have.
Just out of spite. Steve might have picked the Rams. Who knows? Eagles going into Detroit. Trap game. Who you
Eagles.
got? You
Eagles.
got Eagles. Eagles. All right, I'm gonna take Eagles. 49ers going into Chicago.
Um, hmm. at Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
Give me Chicago.
See, I didn't even think about this shit. I don't know what Chicago's got at all. Give me the Niners. Steelers going into Cincinnati.
um, Here's going to Cincinnati. Shit.
I'm going with
I'm
Pittsburgh.
going Bengals.
You going who?
I'm going Bengals.
Bengals. I'm going Pittsburgh. I should be writing this down, shouldn't I?
I'm writing it down.
Oh, you're right now. Okay, my man. Shit. I mean, Patriots coming into Miami. I mean, we know where you're going there.
I don't know, man. I really don't. I really don't know who to pick in that game.
You
That's
really
going.
don't know who you picking.
I'm going Dolphins.
I'm going Miami too.
Going with the fish.
I'm going with the Fins. Browns going into Carolina. Baker Mayfield revenge game. Jacoby Brissett at quarterback. I'm going with the Panthers. It's gonna be a nasty game, but I'm going with the Panthers.
I'm going with. Shit. I'm going Browns here.
Going to
I'm
Browns.
going Browns. Yeah.
Okay. Colts going into Houston.
1 second. 1 second. Colts going into Houston. I'm
Yep.
gonna go Colts here.
I'm going with the Colts as well. I'm going with the Colts as well. And I'm pretty sure Steve will as well. Saints going into Falcons.
Saints for me.
Give me the Saints as well. Although it'll be closer than I think people would think. Ravens versus Jets.
Uh,
Just go
Lamar is
however you
playing
want.
right. 'Cause I know you think no. I'm because I know you're saying he should hold out. I'm wondering like
Nah, he's
we haven't
playing.
heard. Okay, so I'm gonna go Ravens.
I'm gonna go. I mean, I don't do this often. I stopped doing this, but I really have believed leading up into this game that we could actually beat the Ravens. So I'm gonna go with the Jets. 2-0 on 9/11. Let's do it.
Okay.
Uh Jaguars coming down to Landover
Yeah, the other
to
team.
play the Commanders. Jaguars for you?
No, I said the other team. When you said Jaguars, I said the other team.
Oh shit.
I wasn't even sure where they were playing.
I mean, they're playing the Commanders. I don't know.
Is in Washington?
It's in Maryland. Yep.
Yeah, I'll take the Commanders.
No Chase Young. I don't know. Um, shit. I'm gonna go with the Jaguars. For shits and giggles. Why not? Packers going into Minnesota.
Mm. Oh man, damn. I'm gonna take the Vikings here.
Going with Captain Kirk. Are we? I'm going with the Vikings too. I can see Aaron Rodgers having a meltdown. Nobody to throw to. I don't know. I just see it being bad for him. Giants going into Tennessee.
um,
Think we're all gonna take the Titans here.
yeah, I'll take the Titans here.
hmm Raiders going into the Chargers. Raiders going into the Chargers.
Hmm. Hmm.
I'm gonna go with the
Go Raiders.
Raiders.
Yeah, going Raiders.
Go with the Raiders. Chiefs and the Cardinals. I'll tell you one thing: there's absolutely no defense going to be played this game.
None.
No
Score
defense
might
played
be
this game.
70-65.
Exactly. No defense played this game. I'm gonna still take the Chiefs though.
I would like the Cardinals better if Hopkins was playing, but we know he's suspended for his drug thing. But yeah, I'm gonna go with the I'm gonna go with the better quarterback here. I'm gonna go with the Chiefs.
Yeah, I'm going with the Chiefs simply because I know they actually tried to do something on defense. So let's see what
Yeah.
happens. Buccaneers, Tom Brady going into Dak's house. Cowboys.
I'm gonna go, man. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go Tampa here.
I'm gonna go with them boys.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with them boys. Yeah, I don't know why, but I am. And lastly, the Broncos going to play Seattle. Pretty easy there.
Yeah, I'm going Denver there.
Going Denver there, as Geno Smith is playing the Broncos. And hey, Geno might actually shock us, man. But
You want to
from
go ahead
now
and pick the
on,
Thursday night too, since
oh yeah, who we got Thursday?
oh shit, let me
Hold on, let me see.
I gotta pull it up because I was writing this stuff down.
Thursday, Chargers versus Chiefs going into Kansas City. Chargers going into Kansas City.
I'm gonna say KC.
I'm gonna take KC also.
with
I
reserving the
don't.
right to change it before Thursday.
Yeah, I don't buy into anything the Chargers do. I don't like the Chargers historically. Um, so I'm just gonna go against them at all costs. But with that said, man, we're rounding around 12 o'clock.
I posted the.
Oh wait, we got some. We got Steve. Uh, Steve pushing some comments here.
Oh crap! I put it in a chat thinking I could copy it, and it won't let me click on it.
Oh, you put it in the chat.
Yeah, I was typing it instead of writing it.
Okay, okay, that's cool. That's all right. Hey, well, it's about that time. It's about 12 o'clock. We're just a little over an hour. Steve couldn't join us today, getting some things
Efficiency.
done down there. We're gonna come back next week with some Benjis recap of week one. Um, I mean, there's some bingeables I want to talk about, but for the sake of time, get you some chow.
Well, let
Get
me ask you this about one Benji, and then we can go ahead and roll out. I
mhm,
watched Thor. It's on Disney Plus.
mhm.
I didn't like it. I thought it was, I don't know. It was like it felt like they was doing too much comedy, And I get that they've taken that turn with Taika Waititi
Mhm.
or whatever. But yeah, I didn't care for it. But the thing that I was looking for that I didn't see, when you were saying, I guess like they made it seem like Jane was stronger than Thor, and you were saying they shouldn't have done that or whatever. I don't know if I missed it or whatever. I didn't see that.
No, I mean it was definitely, if you look at it, when in the early battle scenes, she's wielding Mjolnir and just doing away with everything that's going on, and it's just like they always, and I posted I don't know if I shared it, but they posted, a guy posted a video where he was talking about this, and he was trying to be very objective, and he's trying to be very neutral, and he was talking about how a lot of Marvel fans, like longtime Marvel fans, have been upset on how they are literally obviously blatantly pushing this agenda. I talked about this a long time ago. They were doing this with the comics, especially when they out of nowhere made the Punisher black, and they didn't even make an explanation. When they first started writing about Jane becoming Thor, when they made Shuri the Black Panther, this has all been in Marvel's works in the writing for years, long before it's hit film. And
Mhm.
I didn't like it in the books then, and I just don't like that you're altering. It's one thing to promote different themes and genders and other things. Make new characters. Don't mess, for me, don't mess with the lore of what it was. And for her, to come in, and they've just made Thor a joke in the MCU. They've made Thor a running joke from the beginning. And I just don't like it. Thor has, you're talking about him, he's going against the God Slayer, the killer of gods, and even with his line, they downplayed the level of what this dude is supposed to do.
Mhm.
And it just, to me, it just, even in the books, they just made her seem like she's so much better than Thor. And Thor is just one of those Marvel characters that just are on another level. And they haven't done a good job in displaying him in the MCU. And like I've been saying for quite a long time, I don't think they've truly prepared for this phase. They've been giving us the TV, they've been giving us the series, and it's just all been comic relief. It's been all comic relief to this point. And I don't know that they know what they're really doing. You had 13 to 15 years of a solid run and solid plan. While a lot of it wasn't source material accurate, it had the right tone that you wanted to set. And with the stuff that's been coming on the small screen and everything else, It's just been comedy appearance theme, and I don't know that they know what they're gonna be doing going forward. I really don't.
Mm,
So we'll see.
yeah,
But Thor, I didn't enjoy the movie. I haven't enjoyed the series. So I'm not surprised you didn't like it.
yeah. I mean, I like Ragnarok, but the other ones I didn't care for any of the other Thors. Um, and one other thing I didn't like about it, I get it that there's probably more adults who watch these MCU movies than children. But
Mm,
at the end of the day, we know children watch these things, and I get that they've upped it a little bit, like with the cursing and stuff like that, which I don't have a problem with, right? But when they get to the scene where he's like at the temple of the gods or whatever, and they're talking about orgies and shit, and I'm like, the hell? Like I'm like, I get this is like it's not technically a children's movie, but like there's a lot of
yeah,
kids watching, why are we talking about orgies?
right, right. It's and then you got this, the She-Hulk people were like, "Oh, Stanley will be turning in his grave about the twerking." It ain't about that. It's just that, you make and She-Hulk is supposed to be what it is, and they're
Hmm.
doing it. But for me, again, like I was upset that we haven't been focusing on these other projects that we could have been getting. Instead, they've given us series after series that wasn't good. Moon Knight, they totally turned it around. I
Hmm.
couldn't even finish it. What came after that? Miss Marvel. I didn't even watch not one episode.
I ain't watch
Um,
either one of
and
those.
and now She-Hulk. I haven't watched not one episode. I've heard mixed reviews, but it's just like they're going hard to ensure they're inclusive, and they're making a theme, making a point, even to the point of my 13-year-old daughter is just like, okay, I get it. You know what I mean? So I don't know, man. It's gonna be interesting. The other thing that people are putting out there is that, they're worried about Black Panther. To have reshoots and everything is normal, but there are a lot of late reshoots. There are a lot of unanswered questions.
Hmm.
So we're gonna see, man. And I said this before. I questioned to say I don't know how good it's gonna be, but I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful. Steve posted in the chat to talk about Damon. Listen, Steve, it's 12 o'clock on opening Sunday. We open up that door, we will be here
Hmm.
till kickoff.
Right. These chicken wings ain't gonna make themselves.
Yeah, we will be here until kickoff. We gonna hold that. All the Benjis, we gonna have to come out with something maybe in a week or again. But listen, dog, it's game day. He's sitting back. Yeah, he getting the AC repaired right now. Listen, them dudes changed that part already. He kicking back, chilling. He got his J's on, the jersey on. We know what time it is. You ready? You sitting there ready? We sitting here working. We ain't gonna do that, champ. We ain't gonna do that. Um, yeah, we'll give some politics next time. Uh, Again, 21 years since 9/11. My children over here making noise, doing the most, knowing that they wrong for that. But anyway, 21 years since 9/11. If you've lost any loved ones on this day, VP, your mom, and the countless others that we've lost, definitely salute, and you're always in our prayers and thoughts and loves, and we miss you all. Um, and I'm gonna let you take us out, man.
Hey, I definitely appreciate you saying that, man. And I echoed that as well to anybody who has lost someone specifically on 9/11 or in generally just anybody, you know what I mean? I wish you the best. Hopefully, you get better soon and be able to move on, but not forget them. However long it takes you, hopefully you get through that process of grieving and getting better. Um, as always, we like to thank everybody who tuned in and listened to us rock this Sunday of the episode of this Sunday's episode of the Castworthy podcast. Like we say every episode, man, especially in thinking about what we were just talking about, with 9/11, Queen Elizabeth dying, etc. Tomorrow's not promised to anybody. So make that phone call, reach out to somebody, send that text message, whatever. No need to hold it until tomorrow. You know what I mean? If it's on your mind, on your heart, go ahead and send it. Go and send it today. I'm pretty sure they'll appreciate it. I'm pretty sure you'll feel better for doing so. As always, you guys can find this podcast on all podcasting platforms. Just search Castworthy. You can also follow us on any of our social media by searching at Castworthy on Instagram. It is at Castworthy_podcast. While you're there, go ahead and leave us a like, comment, share, subscribe, follow, tell a friend to tell a friend. Definitely would appreciate it. Help the podcast grow. And I also want to send another shout out to my man Don. Talked to him this week. He's a big time. He's a listener. He listens to all the episodes. So I definitely appreciate his support since we started this journey. So shout out to you, Don. Salute. And want to send one more quick shout out since I got the mic right now to my homie James. He's just finishing up chemo. Scans look good. So hopefully, this is a second bout of having to get chemo to fight his cancer, and hopefully this is the last time. And my thoughts are with you and your wife and the kids, and hopefully your scans remain clear and you remain cancer free. You definitely have been fighting this thing like a champ, man, and we definitely proud of you, brother. So again, hopefully you stay good. And with that, I'm gonna go ahead and wish you guys the best. Hopefully your week is great, and we will see you on the next episode of the Cast Ready Podcast. We out. We love you. Peace.